car's ECUs, not just the primary one, for a comprehensive understanding. Cheap generic scanners only communicate to one ECU.
Well, it looks like I'm live and I'm sitting here waiting for somebody to talk to me. It's been a long day already. You got Lady Hippy at the bar. Because I am the Lady Hippy. And this is a cricket bar. Yes, I did manage to get my stiffener started today. See, the telly's a bit too loud. I love it. Robert mounted it for me. And it's not exactly what I had anticipated this morning. It's just been unbelievable to try to stay away from what is the news, really political channels. I say this like every time I broadcast. And so it's the same MOS today. Those of us who are veterans know what that is, and for the rest of you, ask me, I'll tell you. I'm trying not to really move today. I'm losing that fight. And so here we are at another day, more bills to pay, still got housework and cats. Again, for those of you who've seen me, if anybody out there has any idea about what to do about housing a forever home cat, please say it in the comments, chat. I'm in Augusta, Georgia. So give me a hand. We have a kill shelter. It's a shelter, but it's a kill shelter. Little kittens, actually no cat. They just pretty much euthanize them in like 24, 48 hours. And so we have cats. And we've fed those that have been tossed out of cars and thrown away in garbage long bags. And it's amazingly horrific, the cruelty of mankind. It really is. One was that we've taken in, its tail was nearly cut off. And it too just ghosted. We call it ghost because it just ran in and wouldn't stop running till it found Robert. Because I thought, oh, my husband's going to kill me. I don't need any more. And she was about a young adult, say adolescence maybe, cat. And she ends up, she's got a lot of health problems. She goes into anaphylactic shock. She can't breathe. And we keep catching it in time. But it's scary for us, and now we know it's scary for her. And it's sometimes she'll go 2 or 3 days, and then sometimes she'll have 2 in a day, and it scares her so bad. And that's another reason it's such a bad reaction for her to fight it off. She has to have albuterol. She has to have gabapentin, which is what was prescribed by the veterinarian. Luckily, I have both of those things because I have some of these problems myself, and so I just share. And so far that has worked because our wallets couldn't take 15 trips a week, to the vet. We just can't do that. We love the vet. They know that, but we just, can't. Of course, we keep saying that now that we've retired, we probably will win the lottery. Right around the time we have a couple of weeks left to be here. Like I said, I've been watching and trying to find, I don't know what, a light in the tunnel kind of thing. The politics, you can't get to it. What I'm still used to calling news stations, when they're political stations and political everything. And the announcers used to be newsmen. It's a bad term because it's got men in it. Men are here. Well, yeah, they say, no, we don't need them, which is an entertaining thought. We are here for entertainment purposes only, and that was a pretty good one. Yes, I got my little cigarillo. I do indulge. As you can see, I haven't done my manicure. I haven't done those things. I have a birthday in 2 days. It's the cutest little dress. It's a little vintage dress with like a skater, what we call a skater skirt, so that it's got a lot of flounce. And then when you put the crinoline beneath it, it's such a good look. And I have people calling me Lucy Ball. I don't yet wear gloves because I wear so many rings, so I don't wear the lace gloves, but I have them. And I have actually sets that will come down and just grab onto one of the fingers, or I can tuck it in. I have a lot of those things, scarves. I have accessories. I'm old. That stuff has to be covered up. I am not helping my older viewers, I bet. So hit the share, hit the like. Come on, the channel needs that crap. Give me, give me a hand. I do not make money, and if I thought I could, I would be. Who gives up money? It's just, yeah. I've been watching a few of the homelessness videos. Now that I have YouTube, I don't spend much time on Facebook because I'm doing this, and it turns out that Facebook was actually very time consuming. I had done so to keep abreast of things so family could see us because we had moved 3 hours away from all of my husband's family. I lucked out because my son, my grandson, my granddaughter, my beautiful daughter-in-law, they all live next exit. I love them. But when my son did originally start when he was 18, he's not lived at home, I think, but once for a few months while they were saving up to buy their house. And they paid rent and everything. So I mean, it was, and we loved having them. They're your kids. I mean, my daughter, or stepdaughter, came back I think 3 times with her children, but she had a really hard mess there going, and it wasn't her making. And we're parents. That's what you do. So, and since then, though, I'd say this was their early 20s, late teens, early 20s. By their middle 20s, they had settled down and had gone and gotten their degrees. And I was so proud of both of them for doing this. It's not easy, and just not like they're going to forgive our college debt. I say ours because I had to go 3 times. Because I'd say within a space of 3 years, I went from a manual typewriter, 60 words a minute, to an electric typewriter at 120 words a minute, to a correctable typewriter at 148 words a minute. Still doing carbon copies. And at the end of the 70s, you started seeing Xerox. There wasn't 15 million of this type of machine, it was Xerox. And we loved it because we weren't, especially those of us who, like me, worked in training areas for students that were going to be future nurses, doctors, etc. So you had to have like testing. You had to have 152 of those, you know. And before it's rather laborious work. You had a mimeograph, you turn in the drum. So yeah, so I had to go back to college. Had to go back to college, and then he went from the electric typewriters. Most of you may not know. They went to different types of computers and word processors. That didn't last 6 8 months. And then you had the first computers. Now these were highly expensive at the time, and even nowadays you're getting them. They're uh, close to a couple $1,000s by the time you buy whatever software you want in there, and they don't just add that. I got to give them credit at Acer. I've been using Acer since they became a company back in the early 90s. Um, and I used to furnish whatever place I worked at. I was the one ordering these things. Again, they were very new. There wasn't too many people who knew about them. And when they came out, they were a new company. They were a good company. They had a lot of IT backing. So, did you try turning it off and on again? We can't say that. No one really pisses me off. And so I had to do that, in other words, just to keep up and be able to enter the 21st century. By then, you had home computers, and you had laptops, and you had Chromebooks, you got tablets, you got phones that are smart. The bitches sitting there that I am. So, technology went right through. And so, of course, we stayed abreast of it. Paid a lot of student fees when we were 40. It was like, and most of the places we could train, I'd go and take the training, and then whoever I hired, I'd train. And I'd train one or two and get them to do the training. But either way, you were just, it felt like you were drowning in this shit all the time. And every time you turned around, I didn't want to get home. I told my husband, no, I don't want it. He got one anyway. They said, we don't need a printer. He got another one anyway. I have 2 printers right now. They're very rarely used. I still have what my grandson calls a dinosaur. I got like Windows whatever 75 in it. It was like the first one. It's one of those box ones. It's got a tower. I have several laptops, several Chromebooks, several tablets. I got a mini one that's a laptop and a touch screen. Love that thing. It's heavy though. And again, I buy a lot of Acer. Shout out to Acer. Probably not supposed to promote anywheres, but just speaking from my own experience, if you don't like it, well, screw you. You should. I've been watching, like I said, YouTube videos on the homeless, how and what owners are having to go through in order to reclaim property, squatters, hoarders. I have been cleaning nonstop. I know now why I quit watching like hoarders. And for some reason, within the first 5 minutes, I'm up cleaning the house, pulling drapes, washing, getting everything out from under the bed, vacuuming, moving the mattress. Yeah. I was like, oh my God. Cats. For me, it's never ending. I got to admit, I'm not ever bored. I'm very tired. Sometimes I'm ill, but I'm never bored. There's just something going the hell on all the time with cats. And I don't know why the good Lord sent them all to us, but we can't just ignore anyone in a crisis. I will give them my own food. I mean, you can't simply walk. Well, maybe some of you can simply walk away. We can't do that. Neither me or my husband. We had dogs for 30 years because we both loved him. I bought him his first chow, and then we bought a mate for that. And we thought we would go ahead and breed him because everybody loved him. And it turns out that's not good on the mom, and it's not good on us because we were scared to death. Whoever adopted one, and if one would leave without telling us, it just broke our hearts. We never knew what would happen to the animal. In some cases, I've gone back and took them back. No, I did not give him the money back. No, I did not. But I took the animal. You damn stupid. I was standing there, either he goes with me or you wait for the animal control. uh-uh. It's amazing what people would do with them. Put them in chicken cages. Chicken wire. There wasn't even on the floor. It's just chicken wire. Oh my God. Anybody know what a chow chow is? Look it up. Our last chow was parked, and they were all rescues. Um, our last chow, Smoky Bear, it broke our hearts because we had to let him go. Uh, it was horrible. And it's still horrible. It's been over 3 or 4 years, and it's hard to talk about him. He was husky and chow, and he used to always say, I love you. Whenever we would go somewhere and come back, in particular, Robert would leave because he worked, and he'd be back the next day or 2 days, and, he would go crazy, daddy, daddy. So it broke our hearts. So we lost both our last two dogs within just a few months of each other. So it was very hard. And we already had two cats. We adopted a third because she was a domestic, and she was older. And we just picked her up. She just kept begging on the front porch. And Robert just picked her up, brought her in. So we had three. Now I called her Cinder after Cinderella, and I miss her a lot. She crossed over. We ended up saving four cats, five black ones. Mommy had four babies from the boat where they were all entangled and strangling to death. So now we had eight cats. Well, I lost two. We have their ashes. I lost two. And so we were back down to just six. And we were like, oh, thanks. In some ways, it would be good. But then we adopted one that kept coming here in the freezing weather and so forth. Robert built him a place and made sure it was warm. Big cat, big cat, Patches, I called it, white and black. Sure enough, come spring, he brought his girlfriend who was pregnant. And one of hers we call Fancy. And we've had to get all the males, neutered and so forth. This has never been cheap. But we kept getting another one to replace one that had passed out. Fancy is a boy. He's beautiful. He's a little bit of orange patch and a lot of white, long haired. We don't know how they're throwing these. But he just walked into it. And we have Ghost now. So we had, at that point, eight again. And then we found another one strangling and netting in the boat. By the way, there's no more netting in there. And I ripped out an entire chair and threw it 5 feet. Don't ask me how, I don't know. My husband couldn't believe I did that because it was bolted down. And I just reached in and threw it, trying to get to the animal who was strangling to death. And that turned out to be Kit Kat. He's black and white. He's Patches. He's grandson of the first Patches. By the way, those were taken by the neighbor and sent to the kill shelter. So he managed to get in. He was the second litter down from Fancy. So it's the same sire to begin with, except for Gray. Gray Ghost. She's not. She's also a beautiful gray with a bit of white. And there's several of them that are actually pedigree. And but again, we've just taken in out the shelters that we can to give them, and outside as well. And so now we're feeding 20 cats a day, and so we do need the help. Even my husband says the cat sanctuary people come and knock on the door in the middle of the night in a thunderstorm to give us a kitten who still has its umbilical cord because it was found in the middle of the road. And of course, my husband took it, so we haven't up with him. And then I found one again strangling on some tarpaulin. All this looked like he cut his leg off. It's a fella. And so we took him in because he was going to die if we left him out there, even after we had freed him. Because it took my husband to help cut all of the strings and everything off. And it, terrific ones. It was just, and I didn't think we could save it. He needed a bottle too. We managed. That's a miracle. Then, and unfortunately, I found a second one before I could get the tarpaulin off the table. Cut her loose. We call her Penny. Fancy, not fancy, but Fast Walker was the one that came in during the storm. That miracle. Then Penny. Gizmo was the last one, and we cannot help him anymore. We actually are going to take them in ourselves if there are any more that are hurt like this. We just can't take anymore. I'm trying to find forever homes, and I have managed to house probably 6 or 8 outsiders because most of them are domestic. The kittens might not be. Gizzy, I call him Gizzy. I named him Gizmo because he has this wild ear tufts, and we think he was sired by the one that was outside that looked like our Tiger Rose, long hairs, And he's got some of that coming, but he's got some of the calicos out there, the mama. But he just looked like Gizmo, and I had started calling Fast Walker that, but he grew out of that. Yes, another hand. We have 2 more that are in the rotation to be fixed. Our pet loves us, which is just difficult. We've considered putting in a cat door. We have a lot outside though, and so the girls couldn't go. And we could let the guys go, they wouldn't hurt it. No more babies. We can't. If you ever tried to catch a cat, the ones that we have they were kittens, they were dying, that kind of thing. All but 3. No, all but 2. They were literally dying, and we rescued them. And once you do that, they bonded to you, and they do. They come running to you, and even the ones outside will come running either at the sound of the door or to see our car, so they know who to trust. And it breaks my heart because I don't know what it's going to happen to them. We had one come back that had been around for about 2 years. The first batch of babies, I knew because he had the yellow eyes, the white, the black, his face, and all that was white. It's a very weird look. And he'd been given a forever home. So we do get some. It's just that we can't keep up, and we don't know. I don't see any men out there. It's the girls, and yet there's next time I look, there's 6-week-old babies. We do not see a dude out there. Uh, we get a catch cage if we could, just do the men if not that. We don't see one. As far as catching the cat, you got to use a catch cage. You can't just reach out and grab them. But on our property, a catch cage is something they recognize because the neighbors used it, and the kittens learn, don't go in there because you don't come back, because the parents didn't come back. So then we'll get into anything, nothing. We have a tent out there to converted because our greenhouse was taken out in a tornado, and I have a lot of plants. And so already we're getting some very cool weather. I stated on here, if anybody watches my older ones, about 3 weeks ago, that it was going to start early. It was going to probably start around August as far as fall went. And it was going to be cold quick, and we were going to get a winter. We hadn't had one in a couple of years. But when it's still hot in October, and I didn't move the plants, including yellow, which will die under 60 degrees. I didn't move them into the greenhouse till October the last couple of years, and then it smashed. And, at the time, we just grabbed what we could and put in the tent and threw a heater in there and went on with that. We didn't have it about 8 more weeks. It was a very nice winter here last year. That's going to change this year. So I'm rather worried. We've looked at a couple of greenhouses, and good God, at this time of the year, we waited till I should have done the summer. They've gone to $400 or $500, and we're like, oh my God! But I can't. All my leafy plants, they're pretty leaves, they're pinks and purples and greens, and they've all shot up. I had one that lived; it was about that high, and I waited until it got a little higher and babied it at the end of winter. beginning of spring, and it lived. And it turned out it was two separate branches of the ones that I like so much. And so those have been prolific this year. My purple dragons have gone again. We only had a little bit of one. I didn't think we had even saved that. And it's gone crazy. We had his mother's that she had given us a plant, the ivy type, and it had, I thought, been killed, and it got wet, and I didn't notice it was being cleaned out. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. And so her plant did live. So there were a few, it's like between the cats and the plants. My husband says, I'm just constantly making something live. I should stop. He's right. I'll be 65 in 2 days. He'll be 69 in 4 days. Yeah, they're right there on us. And so we're hoping everybody gets, we get to see everybody this year. Well, at least the children and the grandchildren, we were hoping to get together at the same time. We're not young ducks. And just getting out and about, other than the regular things you have to do, is not something we enjoy lately. It's like, come here. But most of the times we go to my son's. For various reasons, it's just like that. And his house is much bigger. This is their starter house, which we took over payments on because they couldn't keep both houses. They couldn't get the other one, the big one, the new one, unless this one was under contract to sell. So they talked us into it. I'm really glad they did. It's been 12 years now, and I just love it. I love Augusta, but we are getting older, and things like the lawn and stuff, we never really looked at that as a chore or whatever. We just did it. It's like everyday housework and so forth. We just have always done that. We didn't really realize that once we got to a certain age that it doesn't matter what you want to do, it's what you can do. And that turns out to be something entirely different. I mean, by the end of the day, and I find myself working till 8, 9 o'clock at night, this, that, and the other. And I get to the last thing, just barely able to do it. In so much pain, I'm about to scream the house down. And then I have to stop, and the pain's increasing on an exponential basis that I'm not happy with. Of course, the medication I take that keeps that under control, the pain levels, has not made it from the VA yet. But they did mail it 3 days ago. Or was it 4? I have to look. Yeah, I do like the fact that I could order it. Yeah, I'm a premier member of my VA online. I think that most people had to thank the pandemic for those kind of services. We've been doing that for about a decade. So I think they found that they couldn't FaceTime us. I just call it that anymore because that took too much of their time. They didn't apparently like that. So they'll make a slight chat with you on your phone if necessary, but otherwise you got to go in now. Well, of course you do. That's how they make the money. It's not as much money, I suppose, for a telephone appointment. My husband, thank God, is feeling better. Um, we're selling the Cadillac SUV that we've got. It's grand, matches the truck. It's a great little car. Well, it's SUV, but we don't need it. At first, we kind of kept hold of it. We figured out, he would at least use that when he traveled back and forth for this, that, or the other for a family affair, And he decided in the same way I did. It's just silly to keep it to use once, maybe twice a year. Just take the truck, take the car. I love my little Chevy Cruze. And so, I mean, we discussed it and said, we have to keep insurance, we have to do all this stuff. And we don't need it anymore. Basically, we really never needed it, but whatever Robert wanted after his bout with cancer, I never argued with because the bills were paid. He could have what he wanted. He worked extra for those things. Same with the big RV, the drivable RV. He worked a lot of time just to pay for that because he wanted to pay it, period. He didn't just wait and make payments. He paid it off. It's great. And I love the thing. But we had to take it off insurance and not get the tag because we had to renovate the inside and do all that. And so when he got ill again, and he's been ill for about 3 months, is still trying to plow through. And Humana kept, canceling his doctor's appointments. We don't know what that's about. The boy pays like $180 a month for insurance. I know they wanted $170 a month for me for Medicaid. I'm like, why the fuck where does that fucking money go that you took from me? Well, we do that for everybody on Social Security. Screw you. That is not the same money. At what point did I ever say you could take an extra $200 from my check for Medicaid and Medicare? No. Oh, my grandson is getting back with me. My son told my grandson that he was waiting for me to say what I wanted to do for my birthday. I called him 2 weeks ago. I hadn't seen him. And I said, my birthday's coming up. You know this. Because he knows I'm after it. He's never forgotten mom's. I think he's scared too. It's a big thing with me. I'm still here. Pony up. So I'll have to get a hold of him and my grandson when I get done. My grandson and my son forget that I do a podcast, try to between 10 and 12. And I keep an eye on my timer. And so I'll get back to them. I didn't throw live chat on this morning. I've been in a hurry. You can still get in. I got top chat running. I didn't throw a Q&A up. Again, I'm just running today. I love this little thing. It's so thin and it's really cute, the patterns. And it goes down to the floor. So it's got the flare. So I love that. But the other one I was telling you about, I love it. I came in. It's just awesome. I'm going to wear that one. It's like, it's got a gray and white checker pattern, black lapels, quarter sleeves, and then it goes straight to black. And it's the skater skirts, the bigger skirts. So I'm wearing the crinoline under those. Got the perfect pair of shoes for that. I'm going to wear my dance shoes. I don't get to wear them often, but with that outfit, I can pull it off. They're silver and black. And I had those. Ended up wearing those with my 20s costume for Halloween. I think 2 years ago. It was a lot of fun. I still have it. It was a lot of fun. It was 1920s. The pandemic, I believe, was still on. What I think was it was winding down when I wore that outfit. With the cigarette holder and the feather in your hair. It was just perfect. I even went and bought the jewelry, the gloves. I did wear the gloves for those. So that was a lot of fun. And I love to play dress up for Halloween. My son used to, and well, he still does. He usually he's got an awesome costume that he picked up at Disney World. They took my grandbaby up there, my granddaughter, and he loves Star Wars. So he got I don't know which one it is, but it reminded me of Luke Skywalker's outfit, but it's more of the newer one. In any event, it complete with the laser sword. And I mean, because I remember the very first thing he remembers for Halloween was dressing up as Darth Vader. And I took him like this subdivision. I took him to subdivision. We didn't live in one at the time. And he kept running into these houses. I thought we were going to get arrested. But they all loved it because my son was born in 79. And so Star Wars was still a big thing at that time. I don't even think they'd had the other two out yet. Maybe. I think it was 82 or 83 in any event. So he's always kind of dressed up to do that. And before that, he would wear various costumes. We'd meet at the bar, something like that, So it was great to be able to party with my kid like that, I thought. Now, my grandson did not inherit that adventure spirit. He does not dress for Halloween. He hasn't dressed for Halloween in over probably 2 decades. And that was probably because Grandma forced him into a costume. My granddaughter did. She did. She'd gone as a butterfly and several other things. I have pictures. I usually put them up in October. I think this year she's not going to do Halloween. Last year she ran out with her girlfriends and did a little trick or treating after she went with the old people first for a couple blocks. I was all dressed up and went 2 blocks. I didn't care. It was Halloween. I think this Halloween I'll probably go on my Victorian. It's easy to get on and off. It's a great costume. You can wear flats with it because the skirts hide your feet. And it's light and airy, and it's a good costume. Got the hat, with the follow lace and stuff behind it, and it's black, and there's black roses and other flowers. It's really a cute look. And I actually went and saw a picture of Queen Victoria and downloaded that, and then began building the outfit from what she had on. So as close to Queen Victoria as I could get, and I did a pretty good job. I think you guys have seen it if you've seen me at all. I felt I needed to explain why I hadn't been around on Facebook. I think I started with that. I'm finding that this is a lot more time consuming than I had given thought to. And I enjoy doing it, the editing and so forth. Usually I try not to edit. I just do a live broadcast, and what you see is what you get. I keep also explaining the social Woodstock that everybody needs to get up here because it's free and we need to be heard. I'm seeing whole meltdowns. We have homelessness, we have migrants, we have It's biblical. You almost can't get past that part. And I said in the 80s that these people, I don't know what else you call them, but they're countries that do terror. I don't even know another way to put it. Even trying to be politically correct for those of you who would be happier if I did. Just, they're migrants, they're illegal migrants, and we're not getting the good guys. You know that, right? We're not getting the good guys. We're not getting the children. We're not getting the women. What are we getting? We get men of fighting age, 20 to 40 years old. And I'd like to know, because the first thing I would go in our house if we couldn't pay things would be our phone, because that's X amount a month and we have full coverage. But still, the point being, that would be one of the first things we would lose or try to put down. Probably just go to a smaller phone and text. I mean, like cricket. Instead, we still run around like we're all around the world and everybody needs to know where we're at. Smartphones. And so, yeah, we still do that. But yeah, I see these people out here. They got cigarettes, they got munchies, they got Coca-Colas, they got phones, and free housing, and free food, and free lights, and free money, and they're paid for that stuff. Why? Why are there still homeless veterans on the street? I see every day somebody else who was killed by an illegal migrant. I don't know what else to call them. Criminals would be a good term. That would be very apropos. I can't say, of course, that you can't put a blanket out there and say all of them are criminals, but I'm looking at like 99.9% are. You don't know where the hell they are, where they came from, what they're doing, where they're going. Shit. And it's not just my country; it's all the free world countries. The reason riddle me this. Okay, they're homeless because of war. They're homeless because whatever. Okay, they wanted a better life. Yeah, that's great. The first thing that would have raised a red flag with me, if I had been in the ICE business, would have been, why didn't the other surrounding countries allow them entry? Why did they put tanks up and fences? It's like a freaking, that's a red flag in front of a damn bull. They didn't pick up on that. All the rest of us did. And it was, no, we're not going to take any more in. We're not going to take any more. We're going to take less in. And the same thing happened to Britain, Ireland, Scotland, Canada, Germany, Iceland, United States, everybody suddenly had crime out of control, homelessness out of control, people in your freaking face because they want what you want and they're entitled to it. You bring thugdom here. There was thugdom there. And that was why none of the Muslim speaking countries wanted their thuggery. They didn't want to be used as human shields. They didn't want their aid to be stolen to buy tunnel equipment. They didn't want that. But did the people know this? We the people? Oh, hell no. Well, I did, but might have been a few of us. Was that reported by any news agency? The political. Yeah. No. Oh, it's around now because Christian Broadcast Network, Public Broadcast Network, those guys. And I have gone back to that. I used to be a satellite TV have to have for like 15 years from the beginning of it. Cable was where I bounced back to, which I'd had before that. Paid all of this. We paid tens of thousands of dollars in our lifetime, my generation's lifetime. For those of you who are watching, they call us baby boomers. I don't care for that moniker. Hippy denotes with me peace. We believe in peace. We believe the right that we have is the right for everybody. We treat everybody as we want to be treated. Well, that's not what the 99.9% is doing. No. You're out at a cafe in New York having dinner because there's a babysitter for your 3 children. And this guy on a moped comes by with a knife and takes your phone, your watch, your jewelry, both phones, takes any money you got, might even take your credit cards, pay it out of their day, and they're gone in about 3 seconds. Yeah. They've tore almost every store slap apart. There's no Target. There's none of those. There's Costco in New York. All the high-end stores pretty much are shut. There's tents on every sidewalk. You have to, even if you walk in the street, you're liable to step on human excrement. Yeah, they're doing it in the streets. Uh, and yet, somehow the hotels are full of people who are migrants. Well, now, a hotel thinks they got a good deal. I used to run a hotel a long time, actually. And yeah, you got guaranteed. We used to have the construction workers and so forth, depending what was built, and that was good money. You knew that was guaranteed, so that those 20 rooms stayed. You would actually lose money and not rent them out just in case they wanted to be there that day. So that's a given. The government's going to pay that bill. So of course they took it. I wonder if anybody looked into who the owners of the hotels are as a specific ethnic group. Put that out there. It's mainly not. I don't know. They call them brown people, but it's usually, and I have to say they're very good at it. People from India. Nowadays, when I call about something, my phone did stupid, and we had to do that 3 months in a row when Verizon took over our company. And they say, "I'm John," but they're Hindi. For one, I've worked for Hindi, great family, love them, awesome family, and they work extremely hard. And I used to say, "When do you sleep?" And I don't take a lot of sleep. 5 6 hours is what I get. And these guys, I don't even think they got that. At least if they did, they got it broken when they first started. Because they lived where they worked and they were working to own it. And it was a very good system, I thought. And they were, like I said, very hard workers. But yeah, so they're going to take them. So are they going to do that for the homeless that were already here? No, because the government's not paying that. So why would they do that? Now, I don't think they factored in how filthy these people were, how they demanded this, that, and the other, how they didn't care if they just destroyed a place and move on to the next one. This is happening for sure in Britain. It's beyond belief. I mean, it's just pure buggery, for God's sake. And the courts uphold the perpetrator of crime. They don't uphold the victim and their rights. Never, never. And I've said this my whole life, and I'll be 65, and I'm not afraid to say that either. I make this shit look good. I do. Share, dislike, yeah, bring it. Like I said, yeah, I do want to touch on those topics, but it's almost all you can do not to. So I wanted to see people like me that we're talking about people like this and wondering what to do. If you say anything, if you speak out, Tony Robinson is a good example. They keep putting him back in jail because they don't want that bandied about. This is like hate speech, some shit they've labeled this poor man with. And every time he gets out of jail, he pops up at some other city because he's very popular right now, and because he's speaking out, he's saying exactly what everybody else wants to say, but they don't want to be put in jail, lose their jobs, lose their homes, and that's what's happening. You're racist. Get out. Why aren't we allowed the same rights that you are giving people who are not here legally? They're not here legally. They didn't try to go legally. In Britain, they're coming across in boats. In Europe as well, different places. In Canada, they take the bus straight down to New York. We are attached to Canada. It's one of the northern borders. And so they just ride on in. New York City, have you looked? If you haven't and you see me right now, pull that up. There's nothing left. It is squalor everywhere. No storms, no people, but homeless people. Nobody's renting, nobody's buying, they're getting the hell out. If they were smart, I hope they got out years ago because this is only going to get worse. You can't see it getting better. If these people who did work and did contribute to the tax base are gone from that city, what does the city do to maintain their cost that they did get from people? There's no renters, there's no stores, there's nothing. I don't even know how they get food to these homeless people. I don't know how they get food. Living in tents on sidewalks, I do not know how they get food. Now, mind you, it's going to get cold in about 4 weeks in the north to where they have snow probably. October, pretty much, at least maybe by the end. But they're going to have some. These people are in tents on sidewalks. Now, that's not all migrants, it's some migrants, but it's mainly people of New York City because they were just, those jobs went to somebody who would work for $2 cheaper. Those jobs those people could get an apartment or whatever. They got paid for it by the government, stick them in there. You couldn't pay yours, you're out. That's off. So most of the housing in New York City is not by New Yorkers rented or bought. Um, this is mainly the government sticking people in, taking the huge sites that were before some kind of a factory, turning them into bedlets and 400 beds. But they're given a place and they're helped. They're given food. They're given money. They've got a place. They got a shelter. This isn't happening to the people of New York City who are now on the streets, of the sidewalks, in tents if they're lucky. And those actually, I think every few weeks they try to come through and clear it all out because of the human waste. Instead, think about this in, say, a 10-block area, you got 90 tents. And that's a small number to put up there. Now, what happens? They get food, they get money somehow. I don't know how. And then it's thrown out on the street. They have to go to the bathroom, it's out on the street. Some cities I saw that were building tiny houses and tried to put at least the veterans in there. But you can't jumpstart a place if it's in squalor. It's filthy. People are scared to death to go because they're stolen from. They'll beat them down just to make sure they don't have any money. Take their shoes, their clothes. It don't matter to these people. And nobody's saying anything. And those are like Tommy Robinson who are saying things. They're going to jail. They're blocking their web feeds. They're taking them down, and the company won't let them put. I mean, it's just people. If you think that it's okay, you can jump on Instagram, what have you, and do a live feed just like I'm doing now. And if you think that that's a great thing, and you're going to be able to do that, you need to check yourself because right now you're getting a chance to do that, and you need to do that because sooner or later we could end up just like Tommy Robinson and taken off and thrown in jail because we're telling you the truth as far as now we're not racist. We're just saying this is what the actual statistics are. That makes you a racist because the statistics for homelessness are not the migrants, they're housed, like I said. The statistics show you that it's the people of New York that got ousted till there was nothing. How are you going to work if all the buildings are closed down because the owners said, oh, screw this? They're smashing and grabbing, and the cops standing there, he didn't do nothing. We had to call a cop one day, and they came 9 hours later. You can't hire special security. They're not licensed. And so business was like dominoes. It wasn't just New York, wasn't just LA, wasn't just Seattle. It is everywhere. Those places should be rather eye opening for anybody if you want to know the truth about something. Go get in there and look. Don't go, oh, Trump was just putting on a play. He didn't actually get shot. What about the hero, the fireman who got shot, shielded in his family? Oh, the death is nothing to Trump. It's why he paid off the family. Really? I don't know when Americans stepped up and said, I'm just stupid. Because you can't fix stupid. You can't. So you got to go over, around, through. What the hell if you got to do it? Because pretty soon this isn't going to be available to the rest of the citizens who are standing up going, oh, hell no. Because you can't change it. You can't help. There are thousands in every county in the United States. Every country that is a free country in the world has the same problem. Now, you have murderers, thieves, thugs, every time these people are. Why do you think they're not here legally? So they say their name is such and they're from such and such country, and they're such and such age. None of that's true. If you can enforce it against the people of your city who've been there 30 years, then you could enforce it. I saw something fly there. You could enforce it for those who just sought asylum. If you ask me, the damn inmates are running this. I love these. They go out. My husband doesn't get mad at me then. And I try not to continue to keep them going just while I'm on air. Uh, as you can tell, that subject is still giving me a little bit of feds time. I love that cinnamon burst. So whiskey with Fireball. You get that. Get the cinnamon Fireball after you. Yippee. My stiffener. I may not have one every day, but I tend to try to. I have a lot of people say, "How can you get up there and talk? Talk to the TV. What's different?" It's not different. I get up here and talk basically because I keep saying it's social Woodstock, and all of us need to get up here and say something. We need to start saying something because they keep arresting people. Like I said, Tommy Robinson, hey guy, stay free. Russell Brandy's another great podcaster. Joe Rogan, hey guys. By the way, we used to do that when we were doing it. Cat 3 was it there? Yeah, we used to do this afterwards, but this was first. So it's not a new one, just so y'all know. But love those guys. They're great. They're great. Love their podcast. Check them out all the time. Shout out to Cat Williams, too. Love you, guy. Just because. It's funny as hell. I've loved him ever since he was just been around a while. But when you say things that I've been seeing lately, besides locust plagues, tornadoes, hurricanes, tsunamis, earthquakes, volcanoes, time is a factor of 1,000 since I was a kid, because I've been a storm chaser my whole life. My adopted dad used to take us. So I was way back. Back when you had if you were lucky, you had a camera with 110 film, which was high tech then, and you could wait 5 weeks for your film to come back, and 3 of those pictures you could see. Now you just carry your phone. We had the first camcorder that came out. Used to set it up there and let it just record the parties. We got some great footage. So, I mean, but this was early 90s, like late 80s, early 90s. Like, now we just take the phone. We've got cannons, huge cannons. I mean, 35 millimeter. We got, those that just do read the cards, digital cameras, and all that. We don't even use those. I went down finally to the small camcorder. I was using that in the late 90s, early 21st century. But by 2010, they had changed us all from analog. I love that term. To digital. Yeah, so you had to get rid of your TVs. They weren't no good suddenly. I said, hell no. My husband got rid of TVs when I got flat screen. We'd had a big screen TV for years. It took up a whole wall, about this thick. Big. I told him I didn't want one of them. I came home for lunch and we had one of them. Told him I wasn't going to buy new furniture for the bedroom. I came back and big gas pieces of furniture for the bedroom. I can't. It's so big that I can't. It's got a dresser with a mirror that almost touches the ceiling. It's got another tall boy dresser that would, if I put the TV on it, wouldn't be much space to the ceiling. So these are huge pieces. Then I have an antique one that I have in there, and I've been wanting to refurbish it. And finally, I'm at the point of I'm going to empty it out and get it out of here, mount the TV to the wall, and move the bed. And because we haven't moved the master bedroom furniture at all, not even an inch, since we moved here 12, 13 years ago. So I'm horrified when I look under and I can't get the surdiers. I got to move it. So he bought me these pads that I can pick it up and I put it on. Well, I can do a lot of things. Now, I can pick up my couches and set them on the pads, but I cannot do that with the master furniture. The bedroom. Can't do it. The mirror alone, like I said, is really almost at the ceiling. And he didn't actually make sure it was more secure, which I've been yelling about for a decade or more now. So I can't go in there and do that. I just don't have the ass to pick that up. Okay. He doesn't have the ass to pick that up because I asked him, I said, I've been cleaning in there and I've been getting this down and I've been, trying to get rid of stuff. And I really want to get rid of this whole dresser and start getting rid of the clothing that I don't wear. it's hard to let go of those things because you think, I'm going to go back to a size 6. Yeah, well, if you do, go shopping. To hell with that. I have like 4 bins of clothing that I have to go donate because I've had them since like 2001 and you can't wear them anymore. I take very good care of my clothes, especially things that I would wear in public. They're either dry cleaned or they're well cleaned by me, easily. It makes sure that it's done. What in the world? It just went to one of the other comments, and I don't know what the heck it's on now. I don't know, fellas. I keep telling y'all, come see me. Come talk to me. Don't be afraid. I know. I get a lot of feedback. Well, there's the IRS. They can stick anything they want to on you. And you see a former president who's trying to fight jail time for a long time for like tax fraud, this kind of thing. You don't have a chance if you piss off the wrong person. Again, I bring up Tommy Robinson because the minute he comes out that door from the prison, they're doing what they can to put him back. Check him out. I mean, literally go and see this boy. He's got a documentary on right now that was great. I watched it. Maybe you can see why we normal citizens are in dire danger of getting into way more trouble than we ever dreamed of by speaking out and saying the truth. And I'm another one of those. And my voice is silenced. Whose voice is silenced next? Yours? Your children's voice is silenced forever. Your grandchildren's voice is silenced. No free speech. It's not free speech if they could put you in jail and call it hate or whatever the hell they've done with this young man. For a decade or more, by the way. This isn't just one time. It's horrific what they've done to this boy. And he's still fighting. And I admire that. I really do. If you can stand your ground and keep your principles at the same time, then I need, that's love time for me. Yeah, I adore you because you've been able to do what I wanted to do and haven't been able to do because I don't seem to have the viewership at this time. And I'm not so sure I could do it if I had a larger viewing audience. Again, I don't make any money at this. I just get up here and shoot my mouth off. But I'm hoping whoever sees this will say, well, at least she tried. It doesn't seem like there were any takers to say she was right or wrong. And it's on live chat. This can be done. If you want to put it in the comments, put it in the comments. I'll throw it up there for everybody to see. We are all the same. We put our pants on one leg at a time. We got to be able to say the truth in these matters. And they've kept our mouths shut for 2 decades now. I'm going to be 65. And I'm telling you, for 2 decades, it was more important to work and not rock the boat. And even now, friends of mine, guests who would have come on, they don't want to rock that boat. They're old. We're old now. And we don't know what the hell would happen to us if we rocked that boat. Because we've seen what happened to everybody else. So if you can see me, the podcast equipment is not that expensive. Grab some. Do like I'm doing. Start an audience. If you don't want to do that, come on my show. Until they shut me down. Because I anticipate that they will do that. I don't know. Truthfully, I don't even know if they've taken down any of my videos. I really don't. I try not to watch them. I understand now why actors do not watch themselves on TV. It's not easy to get up the next day once you do. And I'm not saying I'm the be-all, end-all of everything I've spoken about. The point being is I wanted to speak and I wanted to see and speak to others of like mind. And so that's what it's all about. Trey Smith, he's another one. Hey, Trey, love you. If you want to know anything about the Bible, go and check Trey Smith. He's got a lovely documentary series with books as well. Beautiful books. Love it on the coffee table. Love him. Go see him. Again, Trey, love you, Trey Smith. Everybody out there, go check him out. God in a Nutshell is basically his domain. And you can pick up anything you want from him, either at his stores or at Amazon. Or if you don't want to, you can just stream it yourself. It's no cost. And I promise you, if you are at least a reader of the Bible and have educated yourself as far as so-and-so, we got so-and-so and this guy and that tribe, we got It's not easy, but I'm not one to listen to a preacher very well. And I was kind of raised Catholic, Christian. I don't believe in organized religion. That doesn't mean they're not right. That doesn't mean they're wrong. It just, that's not me. And so I'm a Bible thumper by reading it myself. I don't need somebody else to do that for me. Read the Mormon Bible, Egyptian. I've read them all pretty much. Translations of the Quran is an interesting read. Jesus, Yeshua, and Mary, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene. Those characters are in the Quran, so it's a history lesson. The same as our Bible, the Torah, mind you. The Old Testament is the Torah, folks. King James Bible, that's the one you got, more than likely. King James the Fifth. He was the son of Queen Mary of Scotland, who was beheaded by Queen Elizabeth I, her cousin. That was her boy. And when they died, his mother, at the hands of a executioner, and his aunt of old age, he's the one that became the first king of the United, at that time, kingdom. It's not a term they used, not at that time. And if you know your history, you know about what period that is. I'm running out of time. So your King James Bible is from there. Also, you'll find there's all kinds of reasons why that's different, why they made another one, and why King James did what he did. In other words, for me, all of that is kind of read and take with a grain of salt, and attack it myself. And attack it I do. There's a lot of things. Don't commit adultery and so forth and so on. You got Lot with the two daughters having babies. It's just, there's a lot in there if you really want to look. But Trey Smith is a great go-to, and I recommend him to everybody. Again, it's God in a nutshell. And all of you know Joe Rogan. He's just Joe Rogan on his side, so he's good. He gets a lot of good guests on. I liked Graham came on and talked about a lot of stuff. I have all his books, so there's a lot of information here to speak about, to opine about, which means the same thing. To get angry at me, tell me I'm an old lady, get off. All those things are possible, but only if you get off your duffs and remember that this is freedom of speech and it may not last long. That way your voice can be heard. Don't be afraid. Step out, step up, talk, yell, scream, get it out. Because we sit back and do nothing. We're allowing evil to grow. And as a good person, and again, I'm not saying anything about a religious person. I'd like to think a good person. I treat people like they treat me, which is unfortunate for some of them. But treat and love everybody as you would want them to treat and love you. And it's going to be a lot better world than the world we're looking at around us. It's just tightening and tightening and tightening. There's only a little light in all that darkness. And I still want all of us to continue to be a light in all that darkness. But in the meantime, guys, I got a dash, got things to do. I imagine you do too. If by any chance you're interested in anything and I didn't cover it, throw it in the comments. I'll get back to you. If you want to see something, I don't drop any videos. I tend to go here, there, and everywhere. So let me know. And have a good day, guys. Just stay real and stay free. God bless.